Hey, it's Brendan Payne with Century 21, the Harrelson Group here along the Grand Strand. And today I want to answer the question that is probably one of the most frequently asked questions from owners here along the Grand Strand. They will ask, Brendan, what's the best time of the year to put my property on the market? If you're thinking of selling this year, don't get caught up in some of the mistakes that sellers often make by missing opportunities. Okay, there's three things to consider when you're trying to determine when you put your property on the market. Number one is, what's the average days on market for properties like yours? When you think of the 40-mile stretch along the coast that makes up the Grand Strand, the market is not the same in every neighborhood. It's not the same between residential and condos, between golf course condos and oceanfront condos. And if you just look and say, well, springtime's the best, then you can actually miss out on opportunities. If you look at what the average days on market is for properties like yours, then you're also going to determine, does the market work for what my plans are? Sometimes sellers need to have a contract in place in the next 30 days because in 60 to 90 days, they have to be in their new location. So if something's taking 60 to 90 days and to get sold, and you're waiting till 30 days before you have to go, you could have some challenges of either owning two properties or delaying a move. On the flip side of that, if things are selling very quickly and you don't know exactly where you're going, then there can be a different strategy from the marketing and pricing perspective in order to make sure that not only do you maximize the amount that you get the home sold for, but also that you work within the time constraints that you have for your move. The number two thing to consider is there an upside for you selling sooner than later? An example of that would be some properties have got a lot of carrying cost with them. So if you think of things along the ocean front right now, if they don't have a winter rental in them, it's probably going to be a couple, 2 or 3 months before they start seeing significant income coming in. And in the meantime, there's no income coming in and there's expenses for owning something. So to hold for 3 or 4 months doesn't make a lot of sense if you're spending money while you're holding. So it's really important to understand, is there an upside for maybe selling a little sooner to offset some carrying costs? And then the third thing to keep in mind is understanding whether historically, are there times of the year where you see significant differences in the amount of inventory available? Listen, prices and time on market are directly related to supply and demand. So when there's a lot of demand and little supply, then typically you see stronger prices and shorter times on the market. And vice versa, when there is more inventory and less demand, then it takes a little longer and sometimes sellers sell for a little less. So if you're in a part of the market where you see large fluctuations, new inventory coming on the market, then you may want to adjust the time that you put your property on the market to avoid those types of see increases, or to get them on a few months before you start seeing that increase. Now, I think most people believe that the springtime is the best selling season. And if you look at the amount of transactions that are out there in our market and probably many others, once January, the clock turns in January, then between January and mid-year, you typically see each month have a few more sales. So logically, you think, well, there's more buyers in the market. And that would make sense. There are more buyers in the market in February, March, and April, and May. And then usually in our market, June, July, sales kind of, they slow down, they level off, and then, they kind of stay there through the mid-fall. Okay. So are there more buyers that come in the spring? Sure. But do you know what else there is in the spring? There's typically more sellers. So you have more competition as you get deeper into the season. Doesn't mean that you can't sell. Doesn't mean that you can't sell for a really good price. It's just one of those things where you have to really understand, what's the inventory picture look like? And is there anything that I can do with my timing of getting it on the market within my requirements of when I need to move, when I need to sell, carrying costs? All three of those things are really, really important to consider versus just going with the assumption that spring's the best time or summer's the best time. If you have questions on specifically in your area, days on market, what's happening with inventory, feel free to reach out to me. Thanks so much, and we'll talk again soon.